Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hey there nation, welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander CheapSkate, and we're back in the edition of the Golden Age. There's a series of Warhammer Fantasy Battle Reports, and this is Battle Report number 74, once again using the Warhammer Roulette rules that we've kind of established for ourselves, where basically you roll off to see exactly what army I will play, what army I will fight against, and determine what kind of point value will be at as well. So on this one, I'm actually taking Dwarves. I rolled that one up as my opponent is rolled up as High Elves. And once again, we rolled up in 1,000 points on this one. So, in this battle report, first Prince Bel-Air is bringing House Lainel, the Silvery Host of Caledor, a 1,000 point High Elves army, and I'm bringing the Fellhold Nation of the Dwarves, another 1,000 point army as well. So, we're going to play some background music real quick. If you want to see exactly what we're bringing for this one, go to pause and take a look at your leisure. So, with that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll.
Crom, I've never prayed you before. I have no tongue for it. No one. Not even you will remember if we were good men or bad, why we fought or why we died. No. All that matters is that two stood against many. That's what's important. Balor pleases you, Crom. So grant me one request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then the hell with you.
Assemble the army!
So the scenario rules for this one is battle line with standard deployment as well as standard victory conditions. The oldie but goodie battle report that we like to use. Alright, so here's an overhead shot of the entirety of the battlefield. As you can see, we're playing on a 4x4 table. I'm on the near side of the table, my opponent is on the far side of the table. And this one, pretty much I decided to kind of castle up there in the bottom left-hand corner. Decided to kind of defend myself because I am playing dwarves, and so the best thing to do for me is to actually defend as best as that I can. So that's exactly what I decided to do. I decided to castle in the left-hand corner, watch my two flanks, and pretty much my plan is have my enemy move across the battlefield and try to whittle them down a little bit with some long-range fire from both my crossbows as well as my war machines. Hopefully by the time they close up, I just have to mop up at that point my dwarf warriors. The reason why is because I'm dwarves and this is a gunline build, and that's pretty much the plan I'm going with. Alright, so that being over, let's go talk about our deployment real quick for the Fellhold Nations. Up in the tower, I have the Decemberus, which is basically a is a Dwarf Organ Gun. Up there is also equipped with the Rune of Accuracy as well as the Rune of Burning as well. Down below on the left-hand side is my unit called Clan Roadsulker. It is 18 Dwarf Warriors with full command, hand weapons, shields, as well as heavy armor. And inside that unit I have 3 characters. The first one is Ivar Bodison, the Jarl of Fallen Holds. He's a Thane who's also my general. He's got a great weapon, ground roll armor, as well as a shield. And right next to him is Per Bodison, Steward of Valaya. She is also a Thane. He's got a Battle Standard Bear upgrade. He's also got great weapon, ground roll armor, as well as a shield. Also this unit is Bobby and Sorg. He is a Runesmith with great weapon, ground roll armor, and shield, and he's also got 1 rune of spell breaking. Right next to him on the right hand side, that is the Rememberer, is a grudge thrower with a rune of penetrating. And then right next to him on the right hand side is Clan Ysmir, the Vengeful Ones. It is 18 Dwarf Quarrelers with full command. They're equipped with Dwarf crossbows, great weapons, as well as heavy armor. And that pretty much makes up the deployment from Dwarves on this one. Alright, so let's talk about House Lainel, the Silvery Host of Caledor. Over here on the left-hand side, we have a unit. Basically, those guys are called the Caledorian Rangers. There's unit 18 White Lions of Trace. They have a musician as well as a standard bearer. They got great weapons, heavy armor, as well as lion cloaks. They also have a Lishbone Penny, giving them 5 ward save against magic spells, which isn't really going to do much for them because they're fighting against dwarves. Leading that unit is 2 of their characters. Tytos Lainel, the Lord Master of Caledor. He's an Archmage. He's also the general of this army. He's got a level 4 Lord of High Magic. He's equipped with a hand weapon. He's also got a Dispel Scroll, which isn't going to do much good for him on this one, as well as a Crown of Command. And right next to him is Captain Tanis Lainel, Captain of the Dawn Guard. He's a noble. He's also a Battle Standard Bearer upgrade. He's got Halberd, heavy armor, lion cloak, and shield. He's also got the Standard Discipline, giving the unit +1 to their leadership. And right next to on the right hand side, that is called the Silver Sentinels, a unit of 5 Silverhelm Knights with full command. They have lances, heavy armor, shield, as well as barded elven steeds. Also looking all the way to the front, that is a unit called the Silent Striders, unit of 5 Illyrian Reavers with standard bearer as well as spears, bows, light armor, as well as elven steeds, and they've been vanguard up forward 12 inches. And with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 1 for the Dwarves, and this photo is taken after the movement phase. As you can see in this photo, I did not do any movement whatsoever. I'm playing Dwarves, I have move or shoot units only, so there is no reason for me to move. Like I said, I'm playing defensively on this one. My main concern that I gotta worry about is I'm gonna try to target those silent stars with my crossbows. Hopefully I can destroy those guys, so that way they don't pull any movement shenanigans along the flanks of my army. At the same time, I'm also kind of worried because all the way across the other side of the battlefield on the top of the tower in the far right hand corner is the Reigns of Caledor, which is a Eagle Claw bloat thrower that I gotta worry about as well. So that part is kind of frightening as well. So pretty much just kind of stand my ground and don't do much movement at all. So with the move phase over with, we go directly to the shooting phase. And the shooting phase, a couple things happened. First of all, up in the front, you notice the Illyrian Reavers are completely gone off the battlefield, and the reason why is because I wiped out that unit with crossbow fire from Clan Ysmir, the Vengeful One, so those guys all got killed to a man. And also, if you look there on the top, there's only one Silver Helm Knight because the other 4 got blasted off the table of the Decemberist. My Organ Gun just totally ripped those guys apart. And to make matters worse, because only one Silver Knight left, he has to roll Insane Courage or keeps on fleeing, and he fled back 9 inches, and he goes completely towards the table edge as well. So that pretty much picks up a very eventful turn number 1. Wiped out pretty much half my enemy's units on one go, which is pretty awesome. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 1 for the High Elves. They only got one unit that's left on the table, so he basically marches forward 10 inches, going through the house and popping up the other end, running up in the middle of that town square on the left-hand side as well, using the house to protect him from long-range fire from my Organ Gun. Same thing with my, my crossbowmen as well. The only way I could hit that unit is by firing the Remember, but if they get on keeping closer, though, I won't be able to do that with my Grudge Thrower, so pretty much a pretty good plan right there. So here's a close-up of the Caledorian Rangers moving through the house and right in the middle of the town square, using the buildings as cover so that they don't get shot at. And unfortunately for Prince Bel-Air, the Silver Sentinels, they flee off the battlefield, also netting me some juicy points, which is actually pretty cool. So with the move phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase. And during the magic phase, Titus Lainel hits Clan Ysmir with the Tempest. Managed to kill 2 of my Dwarf Pullers, which is not such a big deal, but the part that is a big deal, though, we give him -1 to hit against. So because of that, my crossbowmen now have -1 to hit against when it comes to shooting, so that part is kind of rough as well. But, you know, them's a break at that point. My opponent did try to cast Soul Quench, was able to dispel, but he basically saved his dice to cast the spell Walk Between Worlds. As you can see in this photo, he goes for the big one as well, the boosted version one, where he travels forward 20 inches using the ethereal special rules, lands directly on the right-hand flank of my army, outside the field of fire for my crossbowmen, at the same time opening up my flank so that we can charge directly into it. Because he got 2 spells off as well, his ward save also goes up to a 5 ward save for these white lions, so that part was pretty devastating. And to make matters worse, my opponent then activates the Reigns of Caledor, his Eagle Claw bloat thrower, firing a single bolt directly into my Decemberist, my Organ Gun. Now that he managed to hit as well as wound, managed to cause 3 wounds as well, and just blew up my Organ Cannon right off the bat, which is pretty sad as well. And with the shooting phase over, that pretty much ends turn number 1 for the High Elves. So that takes us directly to turn number 2 for the Dwarves, and this photo is taken after the move phase, and for the first time in a long time, I actually got to move my forces. The reason why I would do that is so that way I can intercept the Caledorian Rangers when they charge into the flank of my Quarrelers. So what I basically decided to do is I wheel my Quarrelers over to face the right-hand side, so they're facing directly against the Caledorian Rangers. I'm going to have to take the charge, unfortunately, so there's not much I can do about that. However, on the top of the screen there, I decided to march wheel my Clan Roadstalker. I kind of do like a wheel formation to the right-hand side as well. So even if those High Elves do charge into Clan Ysmir, my goal is to hopefully weather the storm and basically be able to stand my ground. That way, the Caledorian Rangers' flank is now open to Clan Roadstalker, so that way my next turn, I can charge directly into the flank and then get him in a pincer attack and finish him off that way. That's pretty much the hope and the plan I'm going with on this one. So here's a close-up of Clan Ysmir as well as Clan Roadstalker getting ready to flank charge into the Caledorian Rangers, and hopefully I can destroy that unit that way in close combat. So the move phase are over, they skip the magic phase because I'm Dwarves and we don't play with magic, and we go directly to the shooting phase. And in the shooting phase, I managed to get a direct hit off with my Remember, flying right smack dab into the middle of the Eagle Claw bloat thrower, and I blow up the Reigns of Caledor, killing the crew at the same time. So that part was really cool. When I rolled to see exactly if I hit a direct hit, so because of that, kaboom, that thing goes up into a shower of shrapnel. So with my turn over, we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the High Elves, and this photo is taken at the move phase, and the only unit that they have left is actually the Caledorian Rangers. So first Prince Bel-Air charged them directly into Clan Ysmir. I decided to stand my ground. I did try to open fire and return fire, as you can kind of do so, but unfortunately I just missed a bunch of my shots because the -1 to hit against, so didn't manage to secure, did a single kill. I did actually manage to hit 2 of the Caledorian Rangers, but that 5 ward saved them, so that part was pretty demoralizing as well. So in the magic phase, my opponent decides to cast Apotheosis on his Tanis Lainel, the captain of the Dawnguard. Doesn't heal him anything at all, but does cause him to have fear as well, so he's just trying to add a little bit of edge to him as well. He was also trying to pull out some of my Dispel dice as well as what he's trying to mainly do. He's trying to get out Fiery Convocation, but I managed to stop that spell from going off on Clan Roadsucker, so that part was really cool. However, he was able to get the Tempest off directly onto Clan Roadsucker, though, managed to kill 3 of my Dwarf Warriors, so that part was pretty sad. Plus, I had -1 to hit against, which is not such a big deal because they don't do any shooting attacks, so it's not much of a big deal there. But still, 3 of my Dwarves are now dead, which is kind of sad. So with Magic phase over, we go directly to the Combat phase, and combat was atrocious. Even with my Ancestral Grudge ability, I managed to get the big one where everybody in my army hates my opponent's army as well. But unfortunately for me, that just wasn't landing successful hits for the most part. As you can see, it ended up being an absolute slaughter for Clan Izmir. I lost 10 of my Dwarves right off the bat, and I only managed to kill 5 of the Caledor Rangers as well, so that part was really horrible. I did pass my fear test, so that was a nice part because, you know, I'm Dwarves and we don't break. But at the same time, though, that part was really devastating as well. I managed to only kill 5 of those Caledor Rangers because they got to attack with 3 ranks, and that was absolutely devastating. So needless to say, of course, I fail my break test and I run. To make matters worse, I run back 12 inches, so because of my Dwarves fall off the edge of the table, so they're totally dead, and that's a lot of juicy points for my opponent. At the same time, though, he also tests restraint from charging, and he basically stands his ground as I escape, and then I flee off the table, and then he does a quick combat reform to face off against Clan Roadsucker, and that's kind of a bad situation for me now, because now I'm going 1-on-1, and I just got basic Dwarf Warriors, so that part's kind of rough. So that takes directly to the top of turn number 3 for the Dwarves, and I just kind of say with a YOLO in the air, I charge directly into the Caledor Rangers with Clan Roadsucker. So because of the 2 Dwarf units, the 2 units going to smashing right into each other as well, which is pretty nice. And because I'm Dwarves and I don't play Magic, we skip the Magic phase, and since my Grudge Sword can't shoot anybody, we skip the shooting phase, and we go straight to the combat phase. So here's the result of the combat phase. As you can see, it ended up being an absolute slaughter. I only managed to kill 5 members of the Caledor Rangers. However, the Caledor Rangers, though, they managed to kill 9 of my Dwarf Warriors. It was absolutely atrocious, the amount of death and destruction that those Caledor Rangers caused. It's just that my opponent was making those ward saves like it was nobody's business, just rolling 5 up like it was nothing. And that part was absolutely crazy. If he hadn't failed the ward saves, I actually would have killed 11 of these guys. I would have killed quite a bit of elves, which is actually pretty cool. But man, saved over half of those with just ward saves alone. So needless to say, of course, I failed this combat, and I do have to take a break test. And unfortunately for me, I fail it and I run. I run back 3 inches. The Caledor run 8 inches forward. The Caledor Rangers chop down my Dwarf Warriors from Clan Roadsucker, go crashing directly into the Grudge Thrower, the Remember as well. So that part was pretty rough. But at this point in the battle report, I realized I'm not going to win this one no matter what I do, so because I decided to call it in, and the High Elves snatched a victory from the jaws of defeat on this one. So they had a pretty rough opening and a pretty rough go for the first half of the battle report, but man, they just kind of persevered, and they also took it to me. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go directly with the after action report because this battle report is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
I thought about staying. They offered me the chance to lead them, to teach them, to be king.
Uh-huh.
But my place is here, so I swallowed the juice, said the words, and here I am.
Did you say the words right this time?
Well, maybe I didn't say every single tiny little syllable, no, but basically I said them, yeah. Basically.
Alright, now it's time for the After Action Report. This is part of the battle report. We talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what we plan for the next time that we do battle. This is the After Action Report for Golden Age, battle report number 74, and this one ended up being a defeat for yours truly. I only earned 520 points, while my opponent earned 1,177 points. So he beat me bad, and he dominated me. And I forgot how deadly White Lions are in close combat. They are no joke whatsoever. With their additional rank of attacks, they always strike first with great weapons, they got heavy armor, all kinds of stuff. I forgot how good White Lions really are in close combat. They just really took it to me and destroyed 2 units of dwarves all by themselves. Plus, Fresh Prince Bel-Air was also rolling like his ward saves like it was a boss, like he couldn't lose. He was doing a really good job protecting his fighters as well. And kudos to my buddy as well. I destroyed over 2/3 of his army with shooting during this battle report, and by all rights, he could have rage quit, and been really emo about it, but no, he stood his ground, he has stayed positive, and as you can see in this game, it shows how perseverance pays off. He snatched victory out of the jaws of defeat, and he took it to me as well, so that part was pretty insane. So good job to you, Fresh Prince Bel-Air, you are the freaking man. And so far, I'm liking this Warhammer Roulette formula that we're using for our battle reports, where we just kind of randomly see what point value we're playing at, as well as what armies we're playing with as well. It kind of keeps things fresh as well as interesting and entertaining. It also keeps it very challenging, which is one of the things I like about playing Warhammer. I'm really big on the whole challenge aspect of the game as well. So that's going to do it for this one, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news on this channel. That's going to do it for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out and stay classy.